Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I've not been live for a while, so I had uh, a yeah, a, an idea, a fresh idea popped into my head about something that I could talk about that would help you. So as lockdown goes on, we're all getting a little bit, uh, yeah, we're all getting a little bit stressed. It's all, yeah, it's a tricky time. It's getting trickier, is it? I don't know. You may notice that I'm in a different room today. So I normally do these broadcasts from the kitchen, but I'm in a completely different room. I'm in a spare bedroom today. I've got a little office set up in here now, and that's actually part of the story. So this today's broadcast is called "How to Stop Your um, Wife, stroke husband, stroke kids driving you mad during lockdown," and that is going to become clear at the end of this story. Okay, so if you are of the similar vintage to me, you'll remember Ronnie Corbett used to tell a story, and there's a punchline. So you got to stay with this, right? You got to stay with this if you want to know how to stop your family driving you mad during lockdown. Then just stick with me to the end on this, right? And I will get there just as soon as I can. But we're not going anywhere, so you've got a couple of minutes, right? So last Monday, I was I had something pretty tricky to do. I had a tricky piece of business writing to do. It wasn't to do with my kids' operational work. It was something completely different. And I was really struggling to pull together different pieces of information from three different sources and consolidate it all into one document, and something that made sense to the people that are writing that, right? That we're going to be reading this document, right? And so I'm in the kitchen, and the next door neighbor comes lets his dog out, and the dog starts kicking off, and our dog starts kicking off, and I just need some peace and quiet to concentrate on what I want to do. And then the postman comes, or he's got another parcel. That's another distraction. And then my wife wants to find out, because we need to be finding out we need to be finding out what's going on with the COVID-19. And Boris is back, and he's doing a broadcast, and she's watching Boris on her phone in the corner of the kitchen, and inside of me there's this more and more of this frustration is kind of building up, building up, because I'm trying to concentrate on something that I'm finding really hard. Yeah, something that's not coming naturally to me, and I'm just getting more and more and more and more worked up, and it looks to me like the whole world is conspiring against me to get this stuff done, right? To get my task done. And I'm getting more and more frustrated. This is just it's getting more and more, more and more and more, and then uh, and then suddenly it all exploded, and I said something nasty to my wife, and I just went off. Um, I went off with Rosie, the younger dog, for a walk, and to clear my head. And do you know what I realized? Um, I realized that I'd completely lost it, and that the world, I had lost all perspective in what's going on in the world. And I had started blaming the outside world for what was going on inside me. It was all going on inside me, you know. Um, and I had that insight, I had that breakthrough, I had that epiphany moment when I realized It's down to me. It's down to what's going on inside me. It's nothing to do with the outside world. Nothing to do with the postman, nothing to do with the neighbour's dog, nothing to do with my wife watching Boris and stuff that Boris was saying on his broadcast. It was all going on inside me. Because that's where our feelings come from inside us. Our feelings are an inside job. But it looks like the outside world is driving us mad. It looked to me for those hours as that pressure cooker was building with inside me, that pressure cooker of frustration. It looked like the outside world was causing what was happening to me, and it clearly wasn't. They're an inside job. Feelings are an inside job. So I know this stuff. I know the whole point of the Kidspirational stuff is that feelings come from thoughts, like juice comes from fruit. And I've known that feelings come from thoughts, like juice comes from fruit, for the last 10 years. But I'd forgotten it. Wow, it's really embarrassing now. It's really embarrassing. I was beating myself up, and it's all an inside job. It's an inside job. So I came home. I apologized to my wife, and unreservedly. And I went on Amazon. I bought a desk, and I set up my office in the other room, down in the spare room. You got Pig on the bed behind me saying hello. So and it's a lot better. It's quite quieter down here, and I find it easier to work and stuff. But so how to stop your family driving you mad during lockdown is to catch it when is to catch, you know, the new idea, the perspective came to me. I realized what was happening. When we realize what's happening, we see the world with real eyes. We see the truth. We see that our feelings are coming from our thoughts. Our frustration is coming from within us. It's nothing to do with the world. It's nothing to do with the world without. It's nothing to do with the world outside us. When we see that in that moment, then nothing can touch us. Literally, nothing can touch us, because we are free. We're no longer. I'm no longer a victim of a noisy neighbour's dog. You know, I'm free. We're free when we see that. When we see the feelings are coming from our thoughts, and we're not choosing our thoughts. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. We didn't choose those thoughts. I didn't choose to feel frustrated. Most of the time, most of us aren't choosing what we think or how we feel, because our feelings come from our thoughts, like juice comes from fruit. So we lose sight of that. We lose sight of where our feelings are coming from. We lose sight. We blame ourselves. You know, I used to worry about worrying. Well, not my fault, was it? Not my fault. I wasn't putting in the worrying thoughts, the worried watermelons that were going into my head. I didn't put those in. That's not my fault. I just didn't spot them. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave that to percolate. And if you think that this sounds really nuts, and you think it's so nuts that you can, that if you think it sounds so nuts that it doesn't make any sense to you, then that's totally okay, because it didn't make any sense to me at all. I thought for a long time that the outside world determined how I felt. Listen to Tracy's, a friend of mine, Tracy's chipped in. She said, I'm sitting listening in my small room doing my work. Definitely agree. Need to have our own space. We have a choice and we can change how we are feeling. Yeah. Sometimes I can change how I'm feeling. Sometimes I have a thought. But when I was in that, caught up in that space last Monday, I had no choice whatsoever. I didn't have the choice until I didn't have the choice until I saw I had a choice. I didn't have a choice until I saw I had a choice. I was caught up in what was going on. It's hijacked. I was hijacked until I was free. Great to see you. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.